for this video, what I want to do is show you how to use law of cosines when we are given side, angle, side. Side, angle, side means that we are given two sides and an included angle. So to start with, whenever you are given this pattern, we would use law of cosines. Law of cosines the pattern can be repeated for any one of the sides that you are trying to find. So what we're going to do is we're going to start solving this triangle by finding the side opposite of the given angle by using the law of cosines, which says that the side that we are solving for is equal to the sum of the other two sides minus 2 times the product of the other two sides times the cosine of the angle opposite of it. So the biggest thing with this is that whatever side you are looking for, the angle opposite of that side has to go on the opposite side of the equation. So you could set this up for the same thing using any of your angle measures and side measures. All right, so what we're going to do is just plug in the values that we have. So we would say that b squared is equal to 6.2 squared plus 9.5 squared minus 2 times 6.2 times 9.5 times cosine of 75 degrees 20 minutes. And with this, I am going to show you how to just plug this into your graphing calculator as is. Remember, because we are finding just b, we would want to take the square root of both sides, so you can plug this in all at once, and that's going to give you the most precise answer. If you try to find all of this individually and round as you go, it will throw off the final answer and your answer will not be as precise. So I prefer to just enter everything exactly as it is. So let me get my calculator, and what we're going to do is we're just going to type in second and square root and then all of the information. So I would do the 6.2 squared plus 9.5 squared minus 2 times 6.2 times 9.5 times the cosine. And then remember, what you would do is you would put your 75 first and hit second, the apps button above it says angle, and you're going to select degrees, and then you would do 20 minutes, so again second apps, and you're going to select option 2. Because of the fact that we put it in degrees and minutes, the calculator will for sure see it that way, but always check your calculator to make sure you're in degree mode when using law of cosines, unless you tell it to be in degrees like we just did. All right, so when we solve this, we end up with 9.94. So b is approximately 9.94. This is the longest side, so that means that it is going to be the largest angle. But a good rule of thumb with this, especially if you want to play it on the safe side, remember that with law of sines, when you are given side, side, and an angle measure, and in this case we would have side, side, angle. When you are using this, you want to make sure that, because it's the ambiguous case with law of sines, that you only have one triangle formed. So the best option to do when you are in this situation is to pick the smallest angle and find it first. Remember that the smallest angle is always opposite of the smallest side. So since 6.2 is my smallest side, angle A is going to be my smallest angle, just to be on the safe side. With this one, because we already know that this is acute and this is going to be our largest side, we know that we only have one triangle because none of the other angles could be larger. But if it wasn't that way and this was acute and this one is in between, it's always best just to go with your law of sines with the smallest one. So with this, we're going to use law of sines, where we take sine A over little a equals sine B over little b. Okay, so we're just going to plug in the information. Angle A we do not know. Little a is 6.2. Sine, we would plug in 75 degrees 20 minutes. And the side opposite of it is what we just found, 9.94. If you wanted to find the most accurate answer, you would just keep using answer. I'm going to go ahead and round it because in this case it doesn't throw it off that much, so I'm going to just leave it as is. So I have sine A is equal to 6.2 times sine of 75 degrees 20 minutes over 9.94. And remember, because we're finding the angle measure, we would just do the inverse sine of this value. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and plug it in as the inverse sine of all of this information. So I would do second sine 6.2 times sine of 75, and again it was second angle, option 1, 20 minutes, so I would do second angle, option 2, and then we would just divide it by 9.94. If you had to put it in seconds, remember that seconds is right here above the plus in green, so you would do the alpha and the seconds, but we don't need that for this one because it doesn't give us to us in seconds. So our angle measure would be 37.12 degrees. So we now only have one angle left to find, and to find that angle, for angle C, we would just do 180 minus the sum of 37.12 and the given angle of 75 degrees 20 minutes. Let me just address something really quickly before I proceed. If they asked you to put this into degrees, minutes, seconds, you can use your calculator. So if I go into here, I can hit second and apps, and it'll say convert to degrees, minutes, seconds, so I can do option 4, and it will automatically calculate it as degrees, minutes, seconds. So if you needed to, we would put it as 37 degrees, 32 minutes. Oops, sorry, I looked at the wrong place on my 6 minutes. I was looking at the next answer. And 54.3 seconds. So if you needed to put it in degrees, minutes, seconds, your calculator could write it that way. So depending upon which method they wanted. All right, so let's do the same thing with this one. We would do the 180 minus the sum of, we could do the answer so that we don't have to put it back in, plus 75 degrees and 20 minutes. So we end up with 67.55 degrees, or if you needed to have this in degrees, minutes, second, we would just choose this and option 4, so second apps and option 4, and then it would convert it into degrees, minutes, and seconds for us. And this one is more precise than the one that I had done on my calculator, so when I write it down, it's going to be a little bit different, because in my calculator, just to show you, let me just show you really quickly. In my calculator, when I had found mine, I rounded it to the 67.55. And then if I subtract, and all I did was, because I didn't put the parentheses to start with, instead of going back, I just distributed the negative sign in there. So if you are working on a homework platform and it keeps giving you the wrong thing because of rounding, it might be because of the fact that, oops, you rounded at a different place. So if you round in your problems, and I did that wrong, sorry, I looked at the wrong thing. Instead of the 67.55, let me go back up here. I didn't mean to put the 67.55 because that's what we found for the first one. I meant to put the 37.12. Okay, so just know that if you round, it's going to cause your answer to be a little bit different. So with this one, what I'm going to say is that C is approximately 67.55 degrees, or as degrees, minutes, seconds, we could say that this is approximately 67 degrees, 32 minutes, 48 seconds. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If there are additional topics you need me to cover, please let me know that as well.